Say what you like about Keir Starmer's Labour Party, but they are authentically English and authentically retarded.
Newscum.
Newscum.
News scum.
What was tell me your agenda, Daniel. Dan.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Let's do the minutes from the last meeting.
The other minutes.
Yeah.
First minute.
What happened first minute?
That minute was 00 dot dot 00 to 01 dot dot 00. That's what I've got written with that one. And it continues in that pattern for a while.
Have you got anything written down about what happened in the last meeting?
No, but it's always the same shit. This podcast is we do stories that are a bit weird, like
Bob, no, just do the podcast.
Okay.
All right.
Just do the podcast.
Yeah, just talk.
Okay.
About something.
Okay. But I don't know what topics you wanted to discuss.
You do. We're going to talk about the new party.
Oh, okay. So what's happened with the new party? Has it begun yet? Or is it this endless fucking slow beginning? I don't know what it is.
Well,
why?
Yes, but it's working.
Why can't they think of a name?
No, but it's the genius.
It's working.
Of it. Yeah.
I think the more there's no name.
Yeah, the genius is that they don't have any policies or a name. So there's nothing.
It's a slow burn.
So it's entirely whatever, it's just whatever you want it to be in your mind. And everybody's loving it so far. It's everybody's absolutely with this perfect party that they've all constructed in their own heads. The minute they do anything, they're going to lose clarity.
But they don't have to do anything. Your party doesn't have to do anything.
I think they could rise to power and govern for decades without ever having a policy, a leader, a name of the party, or passing any laws whatsoever. A bit like, didn't Belgium have no government for about a few years ago? They just couldn't get around to it. I think it's the future because political parties, governments, they divide people. Policies especially. If you have a policy, people are going to agree or disagree with it. Terrible thing, policy.
Lots of people say, I just want a party that gets into power and doesn't do anything.
No one said who on earth says that?
I don't know.
That is complete bullshit.
The man on the street.
No, they don't. Well, everybody's like, what's wrong with what?
Just
what
don't
do you
change
think?
anything. Just don't change anything at all. Just leave it.
No one's like, what's wrong with Britain? Nothing. Don't change a thing. Don't touch.
But I mean, don't make it worse. Because every time they do anything, they make it worse.
That's true. But that's
a commonly held belief. Just stop doing stupid shit.
There's two separate things. Yeah, people don't believe that the government's going to do anything good, but they desperately want to see things change.
Yeah, I think
so. I think it's, which is the difficult one. Sure.
Yeah. Do somewhere in between nothing and everything. That's what your party needs to do.
No, just keep threatening to do something.
Yeah, keep threatening to do something. Yeah, just all optics.
But very
vague.
Optics. Very vague. We're gonna we're gonna do
good. A bit like Tony Blair in the mid-1990s.
A bit like Keir Starmer actually before he was elected. Yeah. The problem with that's what Keir Starmer's got wrong is since getting elected, he's actually done things.
He's done things. Yeah, that's the problem. Yeah.
So what do you want to talk about the new party, right? We can talk about the secret inner workings, the kind of Game of Thrones power plays that's going on behind the scenes. Do you want to talk about that?
If you know about it, I don't know about it.
A little bit about it, and I can certainly bullshit very well. I can certainly make things up. I'll just see how interesting the truth is, and if I can see you getting bored, I'll start to spice it up a bit. But the first thing I want to talk about, though, is I wanted to find an article that we could read poo-pooing the new party, and then we could sort of try and take the piss out of that or something. But then every article, including in the Telegraph and GB News, are quite positive about it. It's quite funny. Everybody is loving this sort of non-existent, ethereal kind of party that could or could not exist?
I have to say, I've gone into the knee-jerk reaction of just saying, "Oh, it's rubbish" because I haven't come out with anything. But I agree with you, really. If I think about it for more than 5 seconds, it's great. There was a famous
Well,
advertising
people
campaign.
like you know, professional commentators on the internet like you. Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
They really don't like this because they want stuff, they want meat that they can like fuck with. They like to fuck meat. That's what I'm saying. And they and because the party and so they're constantly like, oh well, you know, who should be the leader? Well, I'm not sure if Corbyn should be the leader. I think maybe and should they have these policies? What should their policies be on this and this and they're very infuriated that nothing's come out because they want something to talk about. So they're very negative about it. But
Who's negative? You just said everyone liked it.
um oh yes, everybody likes it except like people that are on the left and like who like the idea the most, but are really upset about how it's going so far. If it's a kind of a nuanced. So I'm thinking about Navarra Media,
Yeah.
some of the sort of people I'm not sure about Crispin himself, but some of the people that he gets on his show and stuff, and a lot of people I know, they're just very apprehensive, a bit like you. They're like, oh, you know, what's happened? Why is there nothing happening here? Why is it so ambiguous? You know, they're not against it, but all the detail or lack of detail is pissing them off. Whereas everybody else, I think, is enjoying
Yeah, you
the
mean that
weirdness.
it's only the real nerd politicos that that are bothered by it, but everyone else is enjoying it because it just keeps things open. I am sure. I was just trying to look it up now, but I can't find it. I'm sure that there was a famous advertising campaign in like I don't know, the 50s or something like that, and it was just it was on
50s.
billboards.
Yeah.
It's a long,
For which?
long.
For
I'll
who?
look it up
What?
after. I'll look it up after the show and put the link in the thing. But I think it just said something like "It's coming," and that was all it was. It was just a white screen and just "It's coming." And they did this for months and months, and everyone was like, "Oh, what's coming?" At the end, it was like fucking Bovril or some shit that no. But everyone was really because it was at the beginning of advertising. It was incredibly exciting, and no one had seen that kind of sort of tease before. So I
Yeah.
do think it might be a very effective.
Less is
Um,
more.
yeah,
I
a very
think.
effective way. I can't imagine Jeremy Corbyn being that media savvy, but maybe he's picked something up.
Yeah. Okay. We'll talk about Jeremy Corbyn's media savviness, but first, I think they should lean into this more. So Corbyn should not appear on anything
Mm.
apart from maybe once a year,
Yeah, I think so as well.
and
He
it's
should be a
like this
figurehead.
this huge event
Hmm.
where he
Hmm.
like it's at Wembley Stadium
Hmm.
because he shows off like how many people he can get at a rally. And it's like a Michael
Mm.
Jackson thing where he comes out of the stage
Yeah, yeah,
on like a pyramid surrounded by children
yeah.
and
What
like
sort of human shields?
yes, surrounded by girls and children. No. Um yeah, well
And then maybe he could say something like, "We're watching you," or something like that, with a big picture of his face on the
we're
screen.
watching you, the public.
Yeah, don't worry, we're looking out for you.
Oh, we're looking out for you. Yeah, sorry, slip of the tongue. We're not watching you.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jeremy Corbyn's media savviness. He's a natural. That's what Jeremy Corbyn is.
Mm.
See him go again. What's that?
I don't know if he's not natural on the media. He's natural with people,
What's the
but I'm not sure if
difference?
he's well mediated shit. You can't just sort of faff around, can you? You've got to kind of do the old
Oh, do
education,
you?
education, education,
Oh, yeah. Like who?
like all the politicians ever.
What the really
Um,
popular politicians that we have? Name them.
well, that's true actually, and also Corbyn did kind of
Yes, I know it's
he
true.
won, didn't he? He won in
I know it's true. That's
2017,
why I said
but
it.
they cheated him. They gypped him at the final minute, the
Like,
final hurdle.
is Donald Trump good at media?
It's yeah, I guess that's right. He's weird, isn't he? He's just very weird. He's very novel. You wouldn't have thought 10 years ago that someone would come along who writes everything in caps would be able to be effective, particularly as he's the only person I think on his actual on his actual version of Twitter or whatever he's got.
Yeah, I don't know. I assume other people are on it.
But only people to follow Donald Trump should.
Yeah. I don't think
You wouldn't have
anybody.
thought that would be an effective strategy. Someone would come along in 2013 and be like, "Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put everything in caps. I'm going to make a new Twitter that's
No, he
only
didn't
I'm
make a new
on."
Twitter in 2013. He got
But
chucked up.
effectively, he did.
No, he got chucked off Twitter after the first between 2020 and now, didn't he? He was on
Yeah,
Twitter. He didn't make a new Twitter before he was president.
yeah, but it's making a new social media platform.
No, he didn't do that
He
until he got chucked off.
what's Truth Social. That's what I just said. No, sorry, you might have misheard me. Sorry, everybody. Let me reiterate. Don't worry.
Don't labor this. Just get on with it.
Daniel
Just get
will
on
cut
with
this
it.
bit out.
No, I won't.
If you had said to somebody in 2013 that the next president is going to be someone who makes his own new social media platform that only he's on, and he does everything, announces everything in caps, you would not believe that they were a good person at media. But Donald Trump is fated as somebody who is very effective at using the media.
I don't even
spectacle.
care about this conversation, but I just think you're so. What is that point? I don't get that point at all. Right. Firstly,
Well, look,
he's really good at Twitter.
Yeah.
And he got chucked off Twitter, and that's why he made his own social media. But he's so good at Twitter and social media that he made his own, and he just that could stand on its own 2 feet just under the fact that he's doing it, right? Which, I mean, it makes sense. It's if you are the president or likely to be the next president and you're not allowed on the main social media, then people will follow you on another social media. I mean, it's the fact they had the balls to do it, I suppose.
Yeah, but your question was, is Donald Trump good at media?
Yeah, it was a rhetorical question. It was a rhetorical question for about 10 minutes ago.
Are you saying that he is good at media?
Yes, he's very good. He's fantastic. What are you talking?
But he's weird with it. Like he's not like the way that you do it in Britain.
So is Jimmy Savile. He was great at media.
He wasn't. He was fucking awful.
I don't. He seemed to do very well.
His shows are a bag of shit.
Yeah, that's true actually. But they seem to get
I don't know how
popular.
he got that reputation as being. I think that was another thing he lied about, was how good he was at fucking making television.
You can't lie about
dog shit.
The point is that being good at media isn't like one thing. There is a certain way of doing things, and that ties into the sort of politics that you're doing. And that politics is itself very unpopular right now. And so being good at the sort of thing that you expect to do with that kind of politics is also not very popular right now.
Yeah.
And Donald Trump is good at social media, and social media is where it's at. Social media is where the new parties are. I'd say Nigel Farage is kind of good at both. And Jeremy Corbyn is definitely good at social media. I also do think he does come across very well in interviews. I mean, he gets a hard time of it, but he does very well. This is the other thing about the new party, right? I don't care about your party or whatever the fuck it is, right? I am interested in Jeremy Corbyn as a politician. We only have 10 minutes left already. By the way, if you're just tuning in, we use free Zoom meetings for this. And we use 40 minutes meetings on Zoom, and then they end, and then we have to start them again. And we don't use for all 40 minutes at the beginning because we have to mess around together with the microphones and stuff before we start. So that's going to happen. Then when this bit finishes, we'll do another 40 minutes after. Don't worry about that. So, yeah. Yeah, what was I saying? Jeremy Corbyn is...
You're interested in him as a politician?
Yes, and this party is about him and his involvement in it, and that's all I'm interested in. And anybody who thinks that we're building a new socialist party because of other people that are involved, or because there is a great push for a particular type of socialism that you like and that everybody else doesn't like, and we're all going to argue over exactly what sort of socialism everybody loves, even though clearly they don't, because we're all arguing over it. It's bullshit, right? Jeremy Corbyn built up a fan base because he's a great politician. He's a great communicator. He's great at media. And I also just think he's the sort of person that I would like to see in power in this country. That's got really very little to do with socialism, if anything. I mean, it kind of does, because being the sort of person he is, that's the politics that he goes for. Absolutely. But really, it's people are like, well, we should get behind the Green Party. I mean, there's loads of other. There's the Breakthrough Party. There's also obviously all the original communist parties and all that sort of stuff, who never do very well at all. This is about a reckoning with what happened in 2019. It's about Jeremy Corbyn coming back and not becoming prime minister, obviously not. But what I want to see is, like Game of Thrones, because obviously Jeremy Corbyn is Ned Stark, right? We can agree on that. And at the end of the first season, he's beheaded in front of a jeering crowd of people in King's Landing that he'd come to save. And that's cathartic's not the word, but that's what I want to see. I want to see like just how fucked this country is. That Jeremy Corbyn was, sort of metaphorically beheaded in 2019, but he has to be actually beheaded in Parliament Square by Keir Starmer, I guess, or Nigel Farage, or both of them together.
That'll make you feel better.
Yeah, that would just make me feel like I could move on with my life.
Right.
I'm like Arya Stark. I'll run away and join some gang of assassins or something and live my life. But we want to see this fully come to an end. Just see how depraved this country is. Does that make sense?
Right. Okay. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
In Game of Thrones, if Corbyn is Ned Stark, who's Keir Starmer?
I don't know. There was a dragon in it at one point, I seem to remember.
There's a few dragons. Is that what you think Keir Starmer is, a dragon?
It's the only character I can
Oh,
remember.
you haven't seen it, so this didn't mean anything to you. Oh, sorry.
No, there's the blonde lady who goes crazy in that final episode. There's the king who gets
no, I know who the characters are. I know who they are.
Right.
I was asking.
Yeah, but just to keep the audience up. Basically, there's a blonde lady who's nice, I think, to begin with, and then she has some terrible trouble, and then there's a
she's Liz
starting
Truss.
to get cold. A dragon shows up, which is kind of out there because it all seemed like politics for a bit, and then there's a lot of like chopping people up.
Keir Starmer is Joffrey.
Yeah,
you don't know who that is.
That's that guy, Joffrey, blonde man,
blonde little boy,
looks like an elf.
All right, in the next half of this, we've got 5 minutes for this half left, which is not even a half. 5 minutes for this beginning bit. In the next part, we will talk about all of the stuff that's been happening behind the scenes. So do stay tuned for that.
On Game of Thrones.
On Game of Thrones. With Matt, how much have you seen an episode of it?
Yeah.
Oh,
it's
great.
It's the story of a medieval dwarf boy who is diagnosed with cancer and has to sell meth to become king of the country.
That's right. He also is about to inherit a media empire from his dying Scottish father.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we've still got 4 minutes of this half. What else? How can we fill the time before we get on to
fill the time? Is that what people like to listen to on the internet? God, in this crowded marketplace, people are just fucking desperate. They're just gagging.
This is just the name.
Two blokes
Shut
fill
up.
the time.
The name of the podcast.
Our podcast. It's Newscum.
No, sorry. The name of the party.
The party. I don't think Jeremy Corbyn's party should be called Newscum.
Yeah, I really think you should lean into it. And this is actually true, right? I think the party should be called Corbyn Mania.
Yeah, that would be really funny, actually. Dynamic
because
name.
it wouldn't be funny, right? Because people would be immediately like,
it's honest.
That's ridiculous. But then what are you going to do? How are you going to take the piss out of Corbyn Mania? And actually, in the future, it'll actually sound quite normal because Mania won't be it'll sound old timey. There was this guy called like Corbynism and Corbyn Mania.
Yeah,
I think it's great because the name.
I like that.
the name has to come out of the movement. Like the Labour Party came out of the Labour movement. The problem now is there is no movement. There's nothing. There's only
I, th-
Corbyn.
I think there's something else to be said for, as you said about distrust in politicians. And no one really wants a focused group name. We don't really want the name to be Arise, even though it seems suitable for our society.
No, it doesn't.
And something that's out there that someone's just like, oh fuck it, let's call it Corbyn Mania. That's like, that's how they created the after Happy Mondays. That's how they created Black Grape, because they were just like, right, let's just see what's there.
Black Grape's a terrible name.
The Black Grape. but who gives a shit? It worked because
that is the thing.
It was about the content of the band.
That's the thing. What all it is you get over the hump of introducing this new thing. Once it's there, no one cares that it's called the Liberal Democrats or whatever the fuck it's called.
Like, and none of those names mean anything anyway. Conservatives aren't conserving anything. Labour doesn't work. And the Liberal Democrats is a fucking mashup of nothing and nothing. So,
yeah.
Well, maybe not. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, the Tories used that, didn't they? Labour's not working, which is pretty good.
Yeah. 1979.
No, Corbyn mania is good. But I think this is another thing maybe we should talk about later, is that they want to democratize everything, including the name.
Yeah. Is that too much, do you think?
Well, no, it's going really well. Everything they're doing is the right. Well, I think you know what the name will be, don't you? If you leave it to the British public.
Boaty McBoatface or Party McParty.
No, Votey McVoteface.
Voting McVoteface. Yeah, that'd be great, actually. That'd be really funny. Why not just do it? I think that's the other thing as well. Like, I mean, I know this sounds a bit twee, but I do think that there is particularly in a society that is not going well, in a political environment that's not joyful. But I do think that there should be a party that represents more optimism and joy. And Corbyn is the closest thing you kind of got to that. I know a lot of right-wing people would disagree. Oh, he's a baddie. But really, he is someone who is talking about, being kind to people, saving the homeless and all this kind of thing. That comes from a kind of more joyful,
I mean,
that's less curated media.
Corbyn's always been like
authentic.
Day one end homelessness, and that's just enough for me. It's like great. Like, even if everything else you do is just the same old stupid shit that everyone else does, that would be great.
But the Tories ended homelessness in COVID, so
that's the thing.
They're so easy to it.
It's so easy to do. Yeah. Anyway, but
my problem.
Yeah, well, I think if we vote on the name, if we're going to vote on the leader, we're going to vote on the name, we're going to vote on everything. I think that would be quite fun.
It's so funny. Votey McVoteface. You can imagine the 30% of people in this country who are completely disenfranchised. At least the name recognition would be universal.
But I mean, talking about joy, Ed Davey in the last election, he was a bit like that. When he was like surfing and stuff.
Yes.
The problem was, obviously, he was a Liberal Democrat.
He was a Liberal Democrat, so it kind of didn't mean anything. But at least you got the impression that he was a nice bloke, and he would be a good. Do you know what? I found that advertising campaign that I was referring to. It didn't just say "it's coming."
Oh yeah.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
It didn't just say "it's coming." It said Elmer Gantry is coming. And it was in the 1960s. But the point was that no one had a clue who Elmer Gantry was.
Oh, that's like Gabbo in The Simpsons. Do you remember?
Oh, maybe
the puppet where it's like, they parodied it. Yeah, they're like Gabbo, and it's like, who's Gabbo? I don't know, but everyone's just obsessed with seeing it.
It ended up being a Burt Lancaster movie. But I don't think anyone really had a clue what it was initially.
That was the name of the movie was Elmer whatever.
Hang on, the film was called Elmer Gantry, and it was based on a novel by Sinclair Lewis. So I think Sinclair Lewis did "It Can't Happen Here" about the rise of fascism in the United States. But I mean, it doesn't seem that innovative now. It's a little bit like a sort of classic line, like. Roger Moore is James Bond. Tom Cruise is Ethan Hawke. That kind of thing is like it's marketing ideas getting become more common over time, so that you sort of associate the thing with the most authenticity possible or whatever.
Yeah, it changes over time.
But I think this is sort of an early example of that, and there was a real mystery over as to who this character was or what this was meant to be. So
yeah, I just think the common sort of understanding, things have changed very rapidly politically, and because of social media, the way that politics is mediated, is advertised or whatever, promoted over the last 10, 15 years. I mean, 20 years. I mean, the thing is, it's actually been a long time. And the sort of politics that people are still stuck in that think will be successful is Keir Starmer. I don't think Keir Starmer is a particularly good version of that stuff, but he's not actually that bad. It's just that he comes across so terribly in the current context of things. And obviously,
I think you make a really
leading a really bad government.
I think you make a really good point. I don't know if this is perhaps just sort of getting older or whatever, but like you say, they've kind of, because of the ideological shift to the right over the past 40 years or so.
That's not what I'm saying, but go on.
What? No, I'm not saying what you're saying. I'm saying what I'm saying.
Yeah, but you're saying that I would make a really good point, and then
I said you're making a good point, and
okay, all right, Jesus.
Fortunately, we can edit that bit out. Or you
shut up about the editing, God.
So I was going to say that. Oh Christ, I've forgotten now.
Oh dear! Oh dear! Oh dear! That's getting old, Matt. Getting old, forgetting what you were going to say.
I'm getting. Oh yeah, maybe so all of these. Yeah, all these different.
Maybe you shouldn't start a podcast. Maybe podcasting.
I didn't.
For you.
I just keep getting invited onto fucking terrible ones. One terrible one.
Go on, get on with it. Get on with your point.
I was going to say all these different sort of styles of leadership have been tried in recent years. I mean, Boris Johnson being this kind of eccentric whatever. You've tried we've had the boring one. With Keir
it's like
Starmer.
The boy band. You've got the gay one and the cool one and the boring one.
Have we had ginger spice?
No, you'll never get a ginger PM. Nor will you get a bald. Well, they're the two things you'll never get. I guess Andrew Feinstein. We'll talk about him if you want.
Yeah, sure. But we've tried everything and nothing's worked, like you say, and so we feel like the end of ideology supposedly came in the 1990s.
What's working? What do you mean worked? Boris Johnson won, Keir Starmer won.
Yeah,
you're confusing. You're confusing the politics and the leadership style or whatever. Like whether you can have someone who's more popular than Keir Starmer based on personality, I think that's not in question. But it's a combination of stuff, right? But I think maybe what we're both sort of saying, so broadly, is that the rules that sort of politicos and stuff generally assume to be the case are not the case. It's not so clear, and I think you see that really with pollsters, right? Who seem like the real poll like statistic people that really get into it all. They seem the most detached from reality right now. Because all of their information tells them that what happens next month couldn't have happened. They're always like, well, reform, yes, okay, they've done this. That's unprecedented. And no party in history has ever gone from here to here. And then they do it. And they're like, well, that's incredible, but this just cannot continue. It's like, well, clearly what the data that you're using is not relevant to what is happening. I mean, and I think that's the same with the new party, right? You've got the historically unpopularity of the two main parties, and then particularly the leaders, it just means that none of that data makes sense because it's all based on one of the two parties being quite popular or being at least seen, when who's ever in government is unpopular, people turning towards the other. Because there was, for whatever reason, however misguided, some within the country a kind of core support for the sort of policies and the sort of vision or lack of vision that these two parties represented, and became increasingly close to having the same, to fighting over this, squabbling over. I suppose it's like a small bit of rock while the tide's coming in, and they're both like trying to grab onto this ever decreasing but important kind of swing vote thing, and everybody else is going under the water and not voting anymore. So you're seeing like this decline. And then what's happened now is all of those people that kind of just gave up on politics are sort of coming back and are actually the majority now. Anyway, what are we talking about?
I think that's right. Yeah,
Thank you.
That's right. Yeah, I mean,
Thank you for your support.
Another way that I would put that is to say that disaffection and anger.
It's like a poo. It's like a little poo in the toilet, and it's two little rats that are fighting. I don't know why because can rats swim? I guess they can swim, can't they?
Yeah.
But what happens if the toilet is full of like sick? So it's like really thick, and the rats
like that.
But they couldn't swim. They might drown.
Yeah.
We need a sort of scenario in which the rats are trying to cling on to a floating piece of poo to stay afloat.
All you listeners out there, if you've got an analogy involving rats,
involving all of those things,
and then grabbing hold of a lifeboat made of poo to describe,
please write it in the comments. We'll read it out next week.
Comments. And
speaking of which, we'll do comments later. But anyway, let's talk about all of the stuff that's been going on behind the scenes, which I don't know very much about, but I'd love to speculate about with you, Matt.
Yeah.
Let's talk about James Schneider. Do you know James Schneider?
No, rings a bell though. Who was he? Well,
he's still with us.
Speech writer for Jeremy.
Sure. No, wait. Speechwriter was the other guy, the guy who came up with Melts. Who the thing about me is, right, I actually know more than I let on. I've got no memory for names. So it sounds like I have a passing interest in these things. I actually know the guy that I'm thinking of very well now, and I've spoken to him a number of times, and I just can't remember his name. But what the fuck is his name? Just type in the guy that came up with Melts. He was on Trigonometry actually not too long ago. He does the gambling. His big thing is gambling. Come on, Matt. Matt Zarb Cousins.
Oh, okay.
Found it, yeah. We're not talking about him anyway, but I'm glad that I remembered his name. Now, James Schneider was, I think he was more of an advisory role in Corbyn's Lotto. But a lot of the people that were involved in Corbyn's team, there's been a lot of criticism about them, particularly in the aftermath of what happened in 2019 and when things started to come out about what was going on there. I mean, firstly, what is undoubtable about Corbyn's team was there was a shitload of leaks to the press. And I don't know if that was ever cleared up, who exactly that was. There's definitely also factionalism in the real core of Corbyn's closest advisors and stuff. And James Schneider, right? So some people believe that he is part of some kind of elite Jewish pedophile gang that controls the world.
Oh,
and some people think that he's an all right bloke.
Right. Okay.
So, and there's a lot of, and so you can imagine on Twitter, there's a lot of back and forth about these two things. Now, I think that obviously I don't know anything about him. I mean, I've heard stuff. I've heard stuff about affiliations he had at uni and stuff. Zionists, things like that. But what I noticed is with podcasts and all this kind of media stuff is you have to go on there on something like this and you have to say, James Schneider is amazing and we absolutely back him 100% and support him and he's a good person and he should be involved in this new project. Or you say the opposite of that.
Oh.
But I think just like see how it goes, you know? It's like Corbyn is obviously taking him on. He's involved to some degree. I don't know. Like everything else in this party, it's unclear exactly what his role is because there isn't even a party to be. But he is involved on some level. Corbyn has decided that to be the case. I think that's fine. You know, I'm not saying that I think that James Schneider is amazing and that he should be involved. But I'm also, I don't know if enough about him to say that he definitely shouldn't be. I think, and when I've seen him being interviewed, I agree with a lot of stuff he says. And I think I think that the problem with all this stuff is like, if something happens, something comes out, then, call it out, or, if Corbyn fires him, then that would obviously be a sign that he wasn't doing very well. But there's this sort of thing, online, like where like people are very sure of themselves, and they're very
Well,
unlikely
there's a
to
lot
have.
of mental illness out there, isn't
Well,
there?
it's just like, yeah, I've heard the stuff about him at Cambridge or wherever, I think it was Cambridge, being friends with some Zionist people and stuff like that. It's like,
But there are loads of Zionists.
I
Why
know,
would that be unusual?
and also maybe he's changed, but maybe he hasn't changed. But it's like you have to come down really strongly. There's this just like feeling that you have to make it. And I am not backing James Schneider, nor am I against it. I don't care. I only care about Corbyn. All the other people can fuck off. They can interchangeable, whatever. There's loads of other people we can talk about. So there's also Carrie Murphy, who is chief of staff with Corbyn's team. Now she was very involved in what's called the collective. Now,
Oh
before
yeah.
this new party came about, there was a number of meetings over probably years. And in each meeting, more and more people and groups were invited to join these meetings, right? And they were basically being run by Carrie Murphy, because she ran Corbyn's team and because Corbyn was involved. And the only reason people were interested in going to this meeting was because Corbyn was in these meetings. But then it became about something bigger because it was all of these left groups were getting together, right?
Yeah.
And including,
This is, by the way, a terrible name. The Collective.
oh yeah, I don't know why. I don't even know why they
It
had to.
sounds so sinister.
I don't know why they had to name their little meeting group anything, but yeah, it's
Yeah.
very sinister. But it kind of makes sense, right? Because within the collective, right? So what happened was just before Zara Sultana launched sort of publicly what was going on, was there was some sort of last minute meetings, because a lot of people that were involved in the collective, a lot of groups and individuals, were annoyed about the lack of democracy. That they thought that certain people within the collective were kind of making decisions and decide, on where this thing was going, and it wasn't like people were allowed to come and listen to what was happening, but they weren't actively involved in steering the ship or whatever. And there's also like there's obviously like a chicken and egg thing with that, where it's like, well, they set it up. Someone's got to start a thing, and then they have to decide what the democratic process is before you can vote in. There's always that issue. I remember going to really early Momentum meetings in 2015, and this was in Hackney, and there's two people at the front who were like deciding on how they were going to do elections in Hackney Momentum, and then someone else stood up and said, "Who are you to decide how we do our elections?" And it's like, well, yeah, I know, but like literally, how else can we get anyone else to decide without having an election on who? But it is an issue for
There are a
sure.
lot of mental health issues in
But
this.
that's the way I think. Well, let's be honest with this. This is a Corbyn thing, and I'm following Corbyn, and I like the idea of this open democracy thing in terms if they can get that kind of thing sorted, and then it can get on its once it's kind of created, then presumably it will run, apart from all of the corruption and the fixing of the machines and stuff and the algorithms and the Russian bots. Apart from that, it will be it will be its own thing. It won't be as what's the phrase? Decisive, as fast moving as having some sort of dictator at the top. But the problem with the dictator at the top is the corruption. Is the fact that they can easily, the problem with that, they can easily be lobbied. The problem with having individuals with too much power is that they can be blackmailed by Epstein, or they can be.
You mean a dictator? You mean an authoritative leader in the party? You're not advocating a dictator.
I'm not advocating what that or the thing that I actually mean, which is people making decisions without, like, what is the phrase when it's not democratic?
By committee? No.
Yeah, by committee.
Collective.
No, but not executive decisions. People making that decisions not great either. And that's obviously the thing that you had with the collective was, so you had these people that were kind of making decisions. They were inviting lots of groups and people to come and listen to them make the decisions, but they would come to the meeting with an agenda already prepared that they prepared, and they decided the direction of things. And then there was some last minute stuff before Zara Sultana put out a message trying to decide Um, Basically, some people didn't want there to be this kind of open democracy thing in the party. And I think they had some good arguments. It's a fucking mess. It'll be a shit show. It takes forever for things to be decided. People are idiots. They can easily be misinformed. They'll come to decisions like, for example, the Remain decision that was voted on in the Labour. So just before the 2019 elections, in 2018 at the Labour conference, people voted for the what was it? Second vote with a right to remain bullshit.
Yeah, which at the time, me being just a divvy, I was like, oh, that sounds like a good idea. But yeah, it was a terrible idea, wasn't it?
Well, if only this podcast had existed then, I would have shouted at you and shouted you into a submission. The thing is with that is, right, because it's the Labour Party and there is no democracy in the Labour Party, conference doesn't have any power, as we've seen with Keir Starmer. That is what the membership voted for, but Corbyn didn't have to do it. Why Corbyn followed. The thing was that Corbyn had already kind of. I mean, this is where the anti-Semitism stuff comes in as well. His own kind of authority as leader had been diminished over the last few years. That he couldn't. If this had been 2016, in the way like when the Brexit referendum was, and he'd said after that referendum, Brexit won. Different circumstances, obviously, but also his grip of the leadership was much stronger and people followed him. And people argued that if he'd done that in 2019 or just after the conference, he said, look, I understand your position, but we're not going to win the election with that. We need to get into power. We can talk about Europe. We've got years to discuss this. We're going to try and get the best deal we can, and then we can maybe renegotiate or whatever. We don't know what the future holds, but right now we need to win this election that's coming up. And people have voted for Brexit, and we need to, if you just sort of a number of kind of speeches on that kind of thing, maybe he could have brought the membership with him. I don't know. Anyway, the point is that the problems with either thing, right? Having sort of mass democracy, you're going to make wrong decisions. The interesting thing, though, in terms of winning power, democracy, or whatever at the moment, is that people fucking hate elites. And they hate people making decisions that are shit, that are wrong. I mean, the one thing about Brexit is you can shit on it and you can point out all you want about what's happened, but people voted for it and it happened, and that's just a fucking relief in itself, right? For a lot of people. Right, because there's so much stuff that people do that it was not voted on, which is much fucking worse than Brexit, to be honest. Right? If you have a party where you decide on the stuff and everybody votes on it, yeah, some of it might not work out very well, but at least you can say, well, you guys voted for it and we're just implementing it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
That's my catchphrase for this episode. Does that make sense? I don't know. Probably not.
Actually, the guy who stood up at the front of your thing, maybe that was actually a really legitimate point, because it's very difficult, isn't it? This the democratization of parties. I think it's like you. I think you're saying there is a desperate thirst for a democratization and for a change in the way that parties are run, but at the same time, you do kind of need to get stuff done. It's a perennial issue, isn't it? Even when I went to that, when I visited the reform thing, there was actually both those times I've been to stuff like that. The main people there have not been banging on about immigration. I mean, they might have been at the bar, but the main speakers there were ones who wanted to democratize, and reform party, in the internal mechanics of parties. They were just banging on about that. It disaffected people who used to be in the Tory party, who were just like, oh, there's no democracy in this party at all. It's all just run by a gaggle of like a dozen people at the top, who half of whom you don't even know the name of. So there's a lot of that thirst for a different kind of politics and a democratization of political processes in all parties. But I'm not
there
quite
is a
sure
problem
how easy it is to get to that.
There's a split as well. I mean, because it's a sort of it's on like a curve between, like, if you are very involved in politics, firstly, that you actually follow a lot of these things and have opinions on all these various policy matters and all that kind of stuff. And then secondly, it goes hand in hand. You're actually involved in a party on some level. You're an active, paid up member. You maybe go to meetings. You maybe have a position within that. Then you're kind of within that hierarchy. You are looking to get, the democratizing of the leadership goes down to, well, then it's like the local CLPs and stuff will have more power, and that will give you more power. And so the more you're kind of involved with it, the more that you're interested in the way that the party democratization works. And then the people that are maybe might vote or might not even vote, then they're not going to be so interested in party democracy. They're just interested in, whether you'd be a good laugh at the pub, whether the leader would be good. But yeah, I mean, getting back to Carrie Murphy. So Carrie Murphy was running within the collective. There was a smaller inner circle called the organizing committee, and they were making, and it was within that group, that tightly woven group, there was a kind of split between when they do this new party thing, are they going to try and make it broadly democratic in terms of everything, to the point where even the name is going to be voted on? Or are they going to make it more of a kind of normal sort of party that would be, similar to the Labour Party, but with different policies?
Please, sir, can I ask a question?
Yeah, go on.
Hasn't the Labour Party always been, traditionally at least, really democratized? You'll know this better than I do. I thought the whole point of the Labour Party since the 1910s was that it was democratized, or is it just very heavily dominated by unions and actually the actual democratic structures are really shit?
I don't know the history of it. I only know the present, but I can imagine that when it was set up, there was much more democracy in it than there is now. And over time, there has been reforms to the internal rule book and stuff, which has meant that, for example, now you have this almost farcical thing where every CLP in the country, the Labour Party, anybody, well, within the CLPs, which is like a constituency broadly that has an MP.
Constituency Labour parties.
Yes, there is branches, which are even smaller little groups. So in Hackney North is a CLP, and within Hackney North, there's probably 20, 25 branches, and they're all the little parts of, so there's like Clapton and Stoke Newington and Brownswood and Hackney Central and all these things. Maybe 20, I can't remember. But anyway, right, they all have a meeting once a month, and then all the branches come together and have a CLP meeting also once a month. So you've got 2 meetings a month, and you can get, just if you're in like a branch, you go to a branch meeting, there may only be 15 people there, and you can come up with a policy idea in that branch meeting. You can get a lot of time to speak to people and stuff, and then that can be taken to the CLP. And then at conference, you will have a delegate from your CLP who will take the ones that have been voted on nationally to the conference, and they will be voted on by the Labour Party and by all the other delegates. So in that regard, it's quite open to go into, it's just a local person up and down the country. If you take the time to actually do things properly, you can get it all the way so that Keir Starmer has to fucking listen to your thing, right? Now the problem is it's a lot of work, and it takes a lot of organizing because there's so many of these different motions that people come up with, right? That what you have to do is coordinate with other CLPs so that you have a similar motion, so that, because they can't, there's thousands of individuals motions that are coming out. They can't all be decided on conference. It would take months, right? So you have to whittle them down to broadly a motion that incumbent, that broadly takes on, a handful of other people's motions that's basically the same thing, So like one, for example, a classic one under Corbyn was like recognizing Palestine. And loads of people came up with that motion, and they worded it very differently and stuff. But broadly, it was the same motion, right? And then that was then decided on by delegates. They can change the words and so that they're happy with it, and then everybody agrees. Then they put that to the whole conference, and then it's voted on, and then it passes or it doesn't. The problem is that happens all the time, and it does pass, and all that work has gone into it. But then immediately Starmer can just be like, "Oh, actually, nah, fuck it." There's nothing within the Labour rule book that they have to follow their own democracy, right? Now there may have been one time, I don't know the history of it, but there certainly isn't now. And again, Corbyn could have, during his time as leader, he had a number of conferences. He could have tried to change the rules. I mean, they would have been changed back, but it's different. It's difficult to change the rules because you have to do, if you make it that to change the rules, you have to get the delegates to agree on it. Then you sort of take the power out of the leadership's hand. But again, it's one of these things that when you are in the leadership position, like Corbyn was, do you then want to get rid of some of your own power to the delegation? It puts you in jeopardy a little bit. So there's all that kind of stuff. It's all very tedious. What were we talking about? Yes, anyway, so there was a split. And I think Zara Sultana came out quickly with her message because she could see that people, I don't know this to be the case, but she could see that that's what other people were going to do to try and get ahead of this disagreement, get something out there, right? And so in a way, it was quite savvy by Zara Sultana. And I think she was on Corbyn's side, and I'm on Corbyn's side. So that's that. The other side, there were some people involved. Don't have to really talk about who they are. Who fucking cares, right? So I think fine. I think everything's going very well in that regard. Now, obviously, there were lots of internal disputes, and that core dispute about democracy and stuff is obviously that's upset some people. And that in itself is going to cause another issue. But this is what happens in parties. And the thing about this particular party is that already there were lots of people leaking stuff. And there's a right-wing press that are also very hungry to publish all of those kind of leaks and stuff that they may not be so willing to do with the Tory party. Anyway, I think we talked about this enough, haven't we? Is it interesting? Is it boring? You be the judge.
You the judge of that. Yeah, I guess people just like to listen to stuff. I mean, is it?
Boy, I hope so.
Let's hope it's soothing to people's ears. Maybe
let's do comments.
Yeah, let's do comments.
Matt. We've been trying to do comments for ages. I think we're probably going to run out of time again. I'm going to put that on. Right. Okay.
Comments.
Great. Okay, here we go. So this was the last comment. This is from 3 days ago. We're not inundated with comments, has to be said. Can you see these?
Just about, yeah. What does that say?
The mustache game on you guys are on point. Fire, fire, fire.
Oh, nice. Thank you.
That is a very nice comment, isn't it?
Nick J.
Oh, we've only got 10 minutes left. Okay.
I think that's going to be plenty.
Oh, do you? Okay. This is Daniel Seagate 6340. I feel like I recognize his name. I think he's commented before. One thing is, right, on the comments, when you're on the back end thing that I'm on, there's a little YouTube thing here. Can you see that?
Yeah.
That says that I know that they're subscribed to the channel. So this guy's a subscriber, so this guy's good. The thing is, though, you can have your subscriptions a secret. So I imagine Daniel Seagate's also a subscriber, but I can't see it because he's keeping his subscription secret, which is a shame because I would give him more props if I knew that he was
Well, Daniel Seagate says, I want to believe.
Yeah,
he's talking about Epstein. What he wants to believe.
He's talking about Epstein.
Oh, right. Oh, that's a funny comment.
Why?
Because
pedophilia is funny to you.
No, because I think he's using the
He's
using the advertising slogan from the X-Files.
Yes,
which is about UFOs.
Yeah,
to believe in a really horrible conspiracy. Very funny comment. Dark humor.
At last, a British channel, new follower. I shall catch up on previous content. That's very nice, isn't it?
Yeah, don't watch the first 10 minutes. Don't quit We the Many.
Yeah, don't watch the first
Never watch the first
3 or 4 episodes, in fact.
Yeah. Don't watch the first 3 or 4 episodes or the first 10 or 15 or 20 minutes of each show.
Okay, this one is our marsupial.
Yep.
I guess how I imagine... Oh, yeah, this is for you, right? It's a long one. Bang, look at that.
Oh, my God.
This person has given a breakdown of how they think Epstein may have been murdered.
Oh,
I guess how I imagine the Epstein assassination could have happened, and I'm definitely not an expert on the actual running of the prison, so this could be wrong, is basically that they got a guy already in the prison to kill him, specifically Nicholas Tagliolini, that's his cellmate. Taglioni.
He was a murderer. He was in prison for murder.
Can we go? Yeah, that's the next comment by this guy. I heard that prisons are full of murderers, Matt.
Yeah.
Which I think is
catching some flack.
A strong point. Anyway, go back to basically they need one prison guard who's fully in on it to unlock his cell and let him into Epstein's cell. I imagine the rest of it's pretty easy to engineer. Maybe even same guy could fuck up cameras. Guards are probably just shite in general. They could have been paid off or just slack off without being let in on exactly what's happening. That's true. You could pay off a guard without telling them what they were doing. Just like, fucking take it easy tonight. In terms of it being faked as a suicide, I think you've got to question how much it really has successfully been faked as a suicide. I think it's probably pretty easy to get a given coroner to say that X death is for Y reason. There are loads of situations, in my opinion, where we have almost certainly seen this. And lots of people have complained about how a real suicide was actually pretty hard. I remember when Epstein first died, there were loads of shite about his hyoid bone or some crap.
Hyoid bone, because his bone was snapped in a way that the original coroner said was unusual. And it is the case that coroners, particularly in the United States, that the private coroners can kind of, there's money floating around. Right, exactly. So there's reasons to be skeptical. But yeah.
So basically what I'm saying is he was just strangled to death and probably a coroner was paid off for suicide, Now, I don't really know if there is any big issues with anything I've written above. Wouldn't be surprised. And I haven't really looked into it loads. He's looked into it pretty well. It definitely is mostly vibes-based. And I think that's what you were saying. I mean, it's vibes,
but vibes isn't enough. That's what I'm saying.
Vibes isn't enough. But also the reason is because it's about an understanding of the world. And how it's like for a lot of the dismissal of this kind of stuff is also vibes based. It's like we couldn't possibly live in a world where this kind of corruption is happening all the time. It would be unearthed by our great media. That's, I think, what a lot of people take from these kind of things. They don't really believe that this kind of level of corruption is operating all the time. And then even when it comes out, they're like, oh, that's just an isolated case. And that's just another isolated case.
Shall we finish his comment?
Okay.
Did he say anything else?
It's just my thought process for how
intuitively how it could be done.
But ultimately, I do kind of agree with the main point.
I would point out that
really
I'd point out that there is discussion about the specific video footage, which is really ambiguous. But again, I'm just demanding a higher quality of evidence. There's actually, you can see the orange jumpsuit or orange linen of someone climbing the stairs to where Epstein's cell is. But you can only catch it. It's just like a few pixels because the camera is wrongly positioned on the actual thing. So it is clear that
the camera is miles away.
Yes, miles away. It's completely the wrong thing.
Right.
Completely the wrong place.
I mean, there'll be cameras all over the place. Why is that?
But you can see at 10:40, someone climbs up to Epstein's cell. But the thing is, it could have been Epstein himself. And if it was someone in orange, I guess it must have been, or someone disguised as a prisoner. In any case, it all seems too unsatisfactory to me at the moment. But obviously, I sympathise with those comments. But I'm just like, it's frustrating that we can't get a bit further than that. Because at the end of the day, you are that commentary.
But commenter
is effectively naming and saying that he or she knows about. Guessing the criminality of various different officials at a prison. How the hell do you know what they're...
Well, the problem with the conspiracy theory is that it's being covered up, Matt, isn't it? It's not like that they're saying, here's all the evidence, please find out what happened for us, and people have got all the evidence and all they can come up with is this one bad camera angle. It's like this is stuff that's being... And we talked about this last week, about why some stuff is leaked and how it's leaked. That's something I think that could be investigated, a kind of more meta, and that would be helpful for everybody. But yes, I do agree with you where things are leaked and then people just seize on that and don't think, well, can we not then at least track back the source of that leak?
Yeah, so let me make another point on that. And please do comment if I'm wrong on this. But so there are two problems that have been raised. One is the guy walking up to Epstein's cell at 10:40. But there's also the shift in the timing that makes it look like a minute or so of footage has been cut. But that's I think what was it, midday or midday, I think.
I think it's at night, isn't it?
Midnight it must be.
Yeah, because they're closing
being
down.
Forgetful. I looked it up last week and my brain's gone. But my point is, okay, both of those sound dodgy, but only one of them can actually be part of a conspiracy, because you're either saying that something happened at midnight or that something happened at 10:40. You can't say that both of those things happened, so it's twice as likely it's one or the other. So you've got to, again, it's me saying, come up with a scenario that makes sense.
Who are you talking to? People are just pointing out this information so that you have it.
Yeah, but if you want something that is convincing, then you have to go a bit further than that, don't you? Anyway, should we go to the next comment?
Yeah, all right. Peter Manhandelsons.
Oh my word! Let's move swiftly on from that one.
Daniel Lager 92. That's not as bad. It's not bad, but he's done some good comments in the past. But I think they're too far in the past now to find. I assume
these are all. We've got some good people on this. In this audience,
got the best commenters. Absolutely fantastic. Let's talk about this one. Javid Collinson. I saw an AI video that was explaining that the reason they cut a minute from the Epstein cell footage was that they didn't want us to know that Shrek was there, as well as Doctor Who and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and many others. I really like the many others. It's just like it just sort of legitimizes the whole thing, you know. Like I can't name everybody that was there. Obviously, that would be ridiculous. But here are some key individuals. Sounds like they did. Oh, this is Dr. Matthew Alford replying.
Oh, that was me.
Getting in on the comment. Let's not waste our time with that. Didn't Epstein have an ex-cop cellmate, so no one needed to sneak in? Matt, over to you.
Well, he had a
you already replied. This is what Matt said. I think he had a murder.
I had a very boring
cellmate
last
all right,
ago,
whatever.
So I went all through those particular comments.
Watched the film
boring.
recently.
No, I was interested in what people
Shut
say.
up. Only from memory, but don't you look exactly like the PM in Very British Coup?
Yes.
You do, though, don't you?
Yeah, well, I do now. I didn't fucking 6 months ago until I got fat and got a fucking stupid moustache. But thanks for jumping on my appearance as soon as it goes wrong.
Oh yeah, so this is from Independent Media Association, which I talked about. Hey guys, is there an email we can reach you on? The Independent Media Association here. We've got a proposition for the complaints channel. Keep up the good work, Tom.
Oh, and we've just not replied to that.
No, well, I didn't. No, but then he, or whatever this thing is, they did send me a message on Twitter, which I did reply to, and then I didn't hear anything back. So,
well, maybe we should reply on YouTube.
Well, I replied on Twitter, which is much more. Well, I mean, we could, but then it would just be this weird, public conversation. I don't.